straight from the lab of HBSBeats.com.
What's up YouTube, it's your boy Samuski. Today I'm in the studio, so I'm just gonna be showing you how you're gonna master your songs or your beats. So you can use this process if you want to master your songs, maybe to send to an artist, or maybe you want to master the whole song. So I got a lot of requests from you guys. I know most of you might be watching this video. You want to learn how to master your own songs. So I'm just going to show you the easiest method, so no need of looking around for mastering video. This video, it's going to solve what you need. So I'm going to be showing you three ways you can do the mastering. The only reason why you master your beat is for it to sound good. If not, nobody's going to buy the beat. You know, most of these people buying beats are the artists. They think that the way the beat sound, that's how it's going to sound. So that's why I always advise, try your possible best to make the beats as loud as possible, as clear as. So do your mixing properly. Don't just do your mixing anyhow. Try to do your mixing properly before you think of mastering the beat, because if the mix is not good, then the mastering is going to be having a lot of issues. Before we dive right into this lesson, so I want to play this beat here. So I'm sorry if the tags in the beat may offend you, but I have to put the tag because of people who steal beats. Let me get my headphones.
Buy this track today. 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 Buy this track today.
I'm not going to advise you to master your song with the plugins loaded, the tone generators, just like this. The whole of these things, these are occupying your RAM space, so you might not get that high quality. So what I'll always advise is to bounce the audio into a WAV file before you start your mastering process. So I'm just going to export the beat. So I'm just going to create a new project for the mastering. So I'm going to drag the song over. There are a few steps you need to take when you want to master your song or your beat. So the first step you need to take is to listen from the start of the beat to the end of the beat. So if you're noticing anything, go back to the mix of the beat to fix it. The next thing you want to do is to make sure that the beat doesn't start off immediately you hit the play button. So I'm just going to adjust it a little bit.
Buy this track today. Buy this track.
So the first mastering process I want to show you, it's by using the Fruity multi-band compressor. So this compressor is an inbuilt compressor that comes with FL Studio. So you have to remove this Fruity limiter first of all. Then you have to bring in the Fruity multi-band compressor. If you're a beginner and you have no idea about multi-bands, all you gotta do is to come over to this preset and select general purpose. So you're going to notice that your song or your beat is going to be louder. So let me just bypass it and then
Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today.
so you notice the difference. So if you want to make it more louder than it is, you just need to put a limiter. So I'm going to be using the Fab Filter limiter. So what I'm just going to do now, I'm just going to take off the volume.
Buy this track today. Buy this track today.
So I'm just going to bypass.
Buy this track today. Buy this track today.
So that's the first step you can do while you're starting out. So the next step I'm going to be showing you is how to cheat when you're mastering. Maybe you don't have any idea about mastering. So I'm going to be using izotope ozone. So I'm just going to go over to the loudest part of the beat. So I'm going to take away all this. So I'm going to come over to reference. So I'm going to take a reference song. I didn't want to use any commercial song because YouTube is not going to let me use that commercial song. So I had to use this particular one I'm using here because it's actually free to use on YouTube. So the next thing I want to do is to click on Master Assistant. So I'm going to be using reference, and this is the song. So I'm going to click next, and it's going to wait for me to play the audio. So this is what the song sounds like. And then I'm going to play.
Track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Track today. Buy this track today.
So it's actually done. So let's see if there is any difference.
Track today.
So as you can see, it added an EQ for us based on the other song that we have selected. So what you're going to do is to make sure that you're using a particular song that sounds like yours. So don't go and use a different song to come and reference your own song that doesn't sound like the one you're referencing. So as you can see, this is another style of music. That's why it had to EQ it like this. So this is not what I want to use. So I'm supposed to use a commercial song that sounds like mine that I'm trying to reference. So I hope you understand. So if this song you're referencing is loud, so ozone, it's going to make it as loud as that particular one which you're referencing. So if the loudness is not enough, then you can still use the limiter to make it as loud as you want. So this final method I want to show you, it's by using a plugin called Waves. So the first thing I want to do is to add in the linear phase EQ. So I'm going to go to Wave Shell. So the first thing I want to do is to cut away the low end. So I'm going to select the type. It's going to be a high pass. So I'm going to drag it back to about 30-something%. So I don't want to cut too much of that low frequency. You know, it's afrobeat. We need that low punch. But I'm just cutting about 30 hertz because there's nothing there. You can barely hear it. So the next thing I want to do also is to cut the high end. So I noticed that most of you normally boost your bass for it to sound very loud, so you don't need to do that. So the next thing I want to add from waves, it's gonna be the chroma tape. So let me just rename this so that I can. So this is actually a tape machine. So the reason I'm using this tape machine is because I'm just trying to emulate that analog effect on my beats.
Track today.
So I'm going to reduce the record level to make sure I'm not getting up to the red area.
Track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today.
So the next thing I'm going to check the speed and the bias. I'm just going to flip it to check which one works best for my beat.
Track today. Buy this track today.
So I'm going to check the bias.
Track today. Buy this.
I think I prefer the normal. I'm going to bypass it to see how it sounds, then I'll add it back
Track
later.
today. Buy this track today.
So as you can see, we are still on track. So the next thing I want to add, it's a compressor. So I'm going to be using another plugin from Waves. This is a CLA compressor. So I'm going to turn it to limit. So basically what this does is just adds gain. So I'm just going to control that.
Track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Track today. Buy this track today.
So the next thing I'm going to add again, it's a reverb. So I know you're like, what? Reverb on the master. So I'm just going to make it a little bit of reverb to make the mix soft. So I'm just going to select tiny amounts of reverb. So I'm going to add another plugin called Max Volume. So this is actually for the low end, to boost that low end which we cut at the beginning. So I'm just going to turn it to loud.
Track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Track today.
So the final thing I want to do is to give it that gain. So for this I'm going to be using Slate Digital. So I'm just going to come over to preset and select hard.
Track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today.
So let's bypass to see our progress.
Track today. today. Buy this track.
So as far as the track is not clipping, you can still add as much gain as you want. So let's see how everything sounds all together.
Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today.
So this was how it was without the mastering.
Buy this track today. Buy this track today. Buy this track today.
So guys, I'm glad that you've seen the whole process of mastering your song. So I hope that you can use this process at your own time. See how they sound, try to bypass, and then try to get other songs to compare with yours. So thank you guys for watching this tutorial.
Buy
If you need
this
me to mix
track
your beats
today.
for you, or if you need to mix your song, or you want to learn this process
Buy
in
this track
details, you
today.
can contact me. My number is in the description of this video. Strictly
Buy
for
this
business
track
purposes.
today.
So guys, see you on the next tutorial. Bye.
Buy this track today.